at 7 hotels, and I will be your host for this afternoon session. So this year, Meet the Expert has set a new record. We received more than 1,800 registrations. That's why we have prepared more interesting topic and experience for you. So this is for the first time in the MTE. We introduced 2 masterclass. One is dedicated for design and sustainability, which is happening now in the room. And the theme of our masterclass is about operation and well-being. So for the first part, we will have a GM panel discussion where we have 2 super teams, the Sun team and the Randy team. So they will discuss about critical point in the hotel industry. And then following the discussion, we will have 3 keynote speakers covering about the wellness design and the power of marketing and communication in the new hotel business. So to get started now, I would like to introduce Mr. Andre, our moderator, will come on stage. Please welcome him.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go straight to the debate. You don't want to listen to me, you want to listen to all the experts we're having today. So, one quick thing in advance. This is not your normal panel discussion. This year we decided to do it differently. This is going to be a critical debate. So we asked all the members in this debate to actually be critical about what's happening in Vietnam. We all know what is good and we all can scratch each other's back because Vietnam is an amazing country with an amazing development and a great future. We all know that, but like every country in the world, there are hitches and glitches. Today, we are here to talk about hitches and glitches. So please, if one of the panel members is critical at times, that doesn't mean he's negative to Vietnam. That is because we purposely ask them to put the finger on the wound points for the betterment of this country and for a great future ahead. Okay, enough said. Let's get started. Mario, if you can come up to the stage and please introduce yourself.
Hi, bonjour, Cision, everyone. My name is Mario, General Manager of the Sofitel Saigon Plaza. A pleasure to be here with you guys, and also the Chairman for the Tourism and Hospitality Committee for Euroshed.
Then we go on to Herbert. Please, Herbert, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, my name is Herbert. I'm the Managing Director of Alma Resort, the large resort in Camaran. I was supposed to be on the sunny side. I said there's so many negative points. Please put me over to the rainy side. Thank you very much.
So yes, having said so, this idea first of sun and rain, we have changed it a little bit. Everybody is sun and rain today, because everybody has sometimes some positive things and sometimes some critical points to highlight. Gentlemen, please take a seat. I know you're not the youngest anymore. Craig, please.
Hi everybody, I'm Craig Douglas, the Chief Operating Officer for the Grand Ho Tran Resort and Casino, and I've been in Vietnam for about 12 years and previously been associated with Vina Capital as their head of hospitality for a few years. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. So then you go to Attila.
Hi everyone, my name is Attila. I'm currently CEO of School Hospitality and co-founder. And I used to work in a group that maybe all of you know, Fusion. And actually I've been here for 9 years and I can talk a bit more about Vietnam as well because it's also a passion.
Thank you. Then we come to the host himself, Mr. Justin. Sorry Douglas, I wanted to take Justin first because he keeps on looking at me like, when is my turn, you know?
Thanks so much. Good afternoon everybody, I'm Justin Malcolm, the General Manager of Intercontinental, your host today, both the hotel and the residential side. It's great to have you all with us. Thank you. Yes, youngest at the first.
Douglas, your turn please.
Hi everyone, my name is Douglas Arden. I run an independent asset management company based here in Vietnam. So I typically work for hotel owners against a lot of these guys. So.
Good, that sounds like an interesting debate. Let's do the chair here. Douglas, can you sit here please? The reason being is why we want to spice up this whole thing. You see we have 6 gentlemen right now. I call them 6 cactus, so we need a rose. So I would like to ask Ms. Yen, COO for the 5 Hospitalities Hanoi, to bring the Vietnamese element and the female element onto the stage.
Good afternoon everyone, I'm so happy today to be the only woman in the class. And I'm very nervous because I have like 7 very handsome, powerful and handsome men over here. So, wow, what to say. Thank you so much, Andre, for inviting me.
I think you're single and available, right? So let's check it out.
Okay, can I sit there?
Yeah, that's yours, yes, absolutely. And then we have one more. Now, this is not a woman, unfortunately, and a little bit older, but Mr. Mark, he will be sitting down here. Mr. Mark is for 30 years in Vietnam. He is owning the Casia Cottage. And if anyone has knowledge about Vietnam hospitality, then it's him. You can sit for hours with him in the evenings and he tells you all those stories which you want to tell your grandchildren later.
You're too kind. I'm the owner and operator of Casia Cottage in Phu Quoc. I've been here for a long time, and I used to work for the Ministry of Trade and ran some spice exporting companies, which took me all over the country and let me give my unused opinions to plenty of the ministers already. Thank you, Andre.
You keep the microphone because you're sitting and we're looking forward to your spicy comments. Alright, so let's get started right away. Oops, I'm supposed to take this master thing. So we go question by question, every question 10 minutes. I will ask one person first to start, and then this is a debate. You please discuss with each other. It's not like usual where I will interview each one of you. No, you basically start debating with each other. Please tell me early enough when I have to call the police, because you're really getting upset, alright? Good. So let's get started with the first question. A critical debate about human resources. Now, when we talk about human resources, I had recently a discussion with a young man in Vietnam, and he said to me, why should I go to work in the hotel industry? If I go to a mobile phone shop and I work there for my salary in the mobile phone shop, I get the same salary like I get in a hotel. I can play the whole day in my mobile phone, I don't have to give it back, and I'm treated well. Why should I join a hotel? Attila, what's going wrong?
I don't know. It's a good question, but I think we are also at fault, we as a hotelier, because we've grown so fast over the past years that maybe we could not catch up as well with the manpower. And just statistically a little bit, 100 million, the population of Vietnam. There is approximately 20 million the age between 15 and 24 years old. And our official workforce for the hospitality is only 2.5 to 2.8 million official. It's nothing. Then we will need to sort of give a fire. I think you can come in. You're shy, don't want to come in. Then we need to sort of give that energy to this young generation. Why they should work in the hospitality? The average age of, let's say, some of our hotels that I've operated or I'm still operating is below 30 years old. That means what? Means it's still quite popular and interesting for this young generation. That we will need to, in a way, attract them and stay or come to our industry. In COVID, unfortunately, I will not give some names, of course not now, maybe later on, but some big chains fired everyone on the spot after COVID, and people got, in a way, a little bit disgusted, and they left the industry because they felt not secure in our industry. We need us, I think, as hoteliers, as leaders, we need to give back again the interest of why working in this industry. I think that's our role, all of us. I would say we have a panel that I'm sure in the room is the same. We will need to work towards that direction.
Attila, the problem was not that the hoteliers had to fire them, the problem was that the government gave zero support.
Correct,
That
I
was
agree
the
as well.
problem, yeah? Because if you compare this with my country, for example, I'm from Austria. In Austria and in Germany, the hotels, they made more profit during COVID than before COVID. There are now some government departments on the way to check if it's correct how many millions the hotels got to pay out. Because they declared they lost in revenue and they just got, let's say for example, if I would have made in 2019 10 million profit, in 2020 they give me 10 million. But I have no staff because the staff is supported by the government as well. This was a big problem. Nothing was done for the hotel owners. Zero. When my owner called me and he said, Herbert, what's going on? We invest 200 million and under. Where's the support? I said, sorry, there is no support. Now he says, maybe it was a mistake to invest in Vietnam.
I have something quickly to bring up. I think there's a couple of points raised that are important to note. I think we as an industry have a role to play in this. And maybe we had a role to play negatively in COVID, that's perhaps true, driven by very strong circumstances in country. But as an industry, I think there's a few points to remember. One is that the hospitality industry is still one of the very few industries globally that can produce a career path faster than any other industry globally. So let's take your phone shop as an example. In 2 years' time, that same person will be sitting in the phone shop playing on his phone on the same salary he was 2 years prior. In the hospitality industry, you could almost quadruple your salary in 2 years if you're good. And if you make sure that you are at the top of the talent pool, your career in hospitality, from a fast-track perspective, far surpasses any other industry globally. So we have a responsibility not only to promote that, to restore faith to the people that perhaps were put off during our actions during COVID, as happened across the globe, not just here. But we have an ability to educate the next generation or our next workforce in what the industry has to play positively for creating careers for people. So I think we need to bear that in mind, and everybody I talk to in universities or everybody that's joined our hotel group or brand, I talk to in their induction just about that point, because it's very, very important.
I'd say I agree with you. This is not an isolated problem just for Vietnam. Clearly, from my home country, Australia, 34 years ago, or whenever it was when I was studying, not many people wanted to go into the hospitality industry either, right? So you go to university, you study, you do all this type of thing. I was one of the few. And I don't think people, to me it's an educational issue, right? People don't fully understand the opportunities that this industry provides from any direction, And I think if people knew that, then they'd be more willing to pursue hospitality as a career. Because a lot of people will come in, they go with their parents, they're in a restaurant, someone serves them. We all started doing this, right? My first job was glassy in a bar, taking the glasses and cleaning it. That's what I did in a nightclub for the first couple of years of my career. So I think a lot of people, there's still a stigma in that, it's a service industry and we don't want to do that. I think it's an educational issue. We can, as Justin said, the opportunities to progress at pace, particularly in Vietnam at the moment, is enormous. There's so many hotels opening, so many opportunities. They go from a supervisory to a manager to a GM, whatever it happens to be, right? There's so much opportunity for the Vietnamese people.
I mean, to add to that, I think it's what Justin and Greg are saying is like similar to US and Europe is that we need, or Australia especially, we need these structured apprenticeship programs, 3 years, 4 years, with commercially tailed colleges. Right now we have only degrees and masters, and people are spending a fortune on that, forgetting that. But coming back and working in the hotels, you do have to start at entry-level positions. By giving structured apprenticeship programs, the government funding that enables entry-level positions to create their soft skills certified over the years, and they can see the trajectory of their career by having those kind of certifications.
Yes, this is, I think, one of the best approaches to get the basis right, because right now, everyone who goes to a hotel university or to hotel college is left under this idea when he leaves or when she leaves after 2 years, she will be a manager. But of course she cannot be a manager. He cannot be a manager because going there with 2022, doing nothing as a basis, like Craig said, okay, clearing tables and starting what Mauro says from scratch, they will completely fail, and they are not prepared. That is the problem. these young people, they are not prepared to go down one step. They say, no, why should I now be a waiter? Why should I be a commis? Why should I be basically even do layman's work? My parents paid a lot of money. They paid $20,000 a year. If I go home and tell my father that I'm now a waiter, he will say, son, are you crazy? I spent $40,000 for your education. You should be a manager. That is one of the problems.
Actually, I got the survey report from the hotel job. It's quite big website in the hotel in Vietnam. And there are top 3 problems that the people living from the hospital. The first one will be the money culture. The second thing is career development chance. And the last one will be the salary benefits. So I'd like to talk more about the benefits and salary. As you may know that in Vietnam, there is not any barrier for this yet. So, for example, like in the same city in Hanoi, the same position can be paid like with 3 different. For example, for the same position, maybe they can get 5 million or 10 million or even 20 or even 50. I mean, totally very big difference from the same position. And just only the good hotel will pay high with the good benefits, especially for the international brands. That will be good to keep the people stay longer. That's a fact. But for other like local brands, the salary benefit is not really good, so they could pay the job and even the leave the hospital. Not only the COVID, that's a fact.
Okay, so we are always time for the first question. Maybe if I can summarize what I hear, what that is also on us to do is, we have an image problem. I hear that a little bit. The question is always, we have to ask ourselves as well, when are we actually doing something for the image of a waiter or to become a chef? We usually do that only when we need the staff, when we need the employees. Then we run to our HR manager and say, hey, we need waiters, hey, we need chefs. And then our HR manager runs around, hey, it's actually fantastic and great to be a chef. We probably should sit down together and do something like an image campaign about the hospitality industry together. Because once we need them, it's too late. They already smelled the honey on another pot. And the second thing which I hear is, the educational system, basically, we're not talking management level, but we're talking vocational level. Well, maybe it would be an idea, like Herbert has in his home country, to implement the dual system in Vietnam, which means basically people work, but at the same time they go 1 to 2 days per week to school. What's the advantage? They get the academic knowledge. At the same time, they work in a hotel, they learn the reality, and maybe that's a key to Generation Z, they earn a salary already, and don't go for 3 years into a university without earning a cent, and that's why they might go away. So that's a little bit my takeaway. Let's move on to the next question. Craig, that's something for you. We have so many new properties coming up, supply of new hotels in Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh. Are we really on the right track? My little story to this about...
Such a subjective question, thank you very much.
Well, let me give an example. Anyone from some group here? I hope not. I saw in the newspaper, some group wants to build a tower, a 5-star hotel of 20 to 30 floors on one of those islands of Phu Quoc. Basically the tower bigger than the whole island. Do we really need that?
I haven't seen that, so I can't comment on that article. But what I will say, I think, looking from a broad perspective, I would say yes. We are heading in the right direction because, again, is it sustainable in certain locations? Well, that's a debate, right? Certain projects and things like that. But if you're looking at the city centre, right? Let's take Ho Chi Minh as an example. Without question, there's a shortage of branded hotels and everything in Ho Chi Minh City. As a new airport, which people may debate, is certainly on track and it's certainly going to get completed. I can tell you that, the current one, in the next time frame. When that opens, where are the hotels? You've got a handful of hotels, not even the size of Cision in Bangkok. If you look at all the international hotels in District 1, it's less than what's in Cision. Just in one part of Bangkok, big part of Bangkok, but not even the whole of Cision. So, to me, it's on the right track. In the cities, there needs to be more development of certain type of hotels. The resort areas, I think there's there needs to be developed, but it needs to be sustainable. I think in some areas and locations, it's probably moving too fast. But again, when you're competing destinations and resort areas like Phuket, Bali. You can even go as far, if you want to, as Mexico, right? Because a lot of the Europeans and the Americans and everyone are going into Mexico, right? And Europeans quite a strong market here. So I think
I can disagree, no? You can do whatever you want. We know each other for so long.
well, you can yell at me, you can hit me, I really don't care.
Completely disagree with what you're saying. 100%.
Okay, well, start. Give it to me.
Foucault, they destroyed Foucault. Foucault is finished. I mean, the question was about Foucault, not the same group.
It's not only in general. But if you want to ask about Foucault, we have a specialist here.
Yeah, we have said. Not finished in terms like we should save Foucault. I think that's the point. I don't see any opportunities of creating a 20-story building in Foucault. Well, they did that mistake in Phuket on the main beach, but Foucault is so beautiful. I mean, yeah, you're right, the person.
They need to create a 20-story building because that's the only justification for them continuing to not pay back all of the money that they owe to the banks and all of their bondholders.
So this is getting interesting.
Mauro is here.
Very interested. He can say.
Not live streaming, you know?
This week, Donald Trump needs to put up $175 billion, or $454 million, because otherwise everything falls apart, and he can't be president and pardon himself. I won't get into the politics of some group, because even if they're not in the room, somebody who knows them is. I'd like to ask this question when we talk about what is sustainable. Foucault is already gone. I think of Foucault as meeting an old friend who's gotten a Harley tattoo on their face. You know, where have you gone? What have you done? It was a lovely little island. Do we need that? The only purpose of it is to make money for the people who are running the hotels. But there are other ways to make money because they can print money anyway. Ho Chi Minh City should develop, and Foucault, in my opinion, I'm just a spice planter with a small hotel. Foucault was fine when it was a palm-fringed paradise full of barefoot people and fishing boats, and now it's an artificial, good heavens, Venice. Really? They've made an artificial Venice. I want to ask another separate question. Everyone on the panel here is male, except for you, Yen, and everyone is also foreigner, except for you, Yen. When we talk about who the managers are, why is it us? Yeah? And I would posit that the reason is that Vietnamese people don't generally want to go into our jobs. This is backing up a little bit, but I think everyone here within the last 20 years has carried trays in a restaurant or pushed a luggage cart or greeted a guest or actually maybe even cleaned a room. Yeah? And it's true the Vietnamese who are going off to school don't expect ever to do that once. Okay, that's practically giving a speech.
We know you for your speeches, Mark.
No, look, I disagree with Craig. With the exception of Ho Chi Minh and maybe some suburbs in Hanoi, no other destination in Vietnam needs new hotels right now. And what hotels are being built are just the same 300-room box over and over again. And if the country is going to be serious about tourism, we need more experiential product, we need more memorable hotels that are going to make tourists want to come here and stay.
I did say it depends on the location. I didn't say
Oh,
all resorts across the
Really broad override there.
I'm trying to be politically correct, there's cameras in the room.
All these huge casino hotels on the beach and things.
I've been called before.
Just let me give some information. I totally agree with both of you. However, let's say, just remember that Vietnam still has a lot of places that we never reached yet. For example, like Phan Thiết, or even that what I say, another big city, and also we have a lot of ethnic places that we can build a dome stay, something like that. So not
Yeah,
only
we
hotel,
talk
but
about Phuket,
yeah, that is a
Sapa
very hidden
will be
dancer. So
ruined by a
all of us
tower in
know
the middle
that
of
is a big action for us. So we don't just only focus on the place, because we still have a lot of other nice places in Vietnam. So why we just focus in a place? That is not true.
No, I think as long as the tourism department and the ones who are in charge of bringing tourists to Vietnam don't adapt a more sensible approach, it will fail. Because strategy means that you have a goal, and then you have to give the means and the tools to achieve the strategy. This is a very simple approach. So my strategy is I want to reach this goal. Okay, so what do I need to reach this goal? It's very, very simple, but there is no real strategy, in my opinion, when it comes to change the perception of Vietnam. Do you know the perception of Vietnam? I say this now, but this is one of my parts earlier, but it fits in now. I asked guests, for example, I called our GSA yesterday. I said, Theo, tell me what are Koreans expecting from Vietnam. You know what they say? Cheap, safe, okay, and good food. Yeah. So now they come because they say, wow, Vietnam is cheap. Yeah. So what does it mean? It will be hard for us to improve the rates. It will be hard for us to sell our soups and our beers and our food higher because everyone has this image that Vietnam is cheap. And where does it come from? It comes from one simple thing. Maybe 50 years ago, Vietnam decided, okay, we have a country where there are lots of water buffaloes. Yeah? So they sent the image of the water buffalo wherever you open a brochure anywhere in the world. We have lots of rice fields. So the water buffalo is on the rice field. And on the water buffalo there sits a beautiful Vietnamese girl in a white awya with black hair and with a conical hat. Now the Americans, they're coming and say, Herbert, where's the water buffalo? Where are the rice fields? Because we have created this image in their head. No wonder they come now. And what Douglas says, they say, wow, you have hotels with 300 rooms? You have hotels with 500 rooms? I thought you still put the guests into villas which have a bamboo roof next to the beach. This is the biggest problem in my opinion. And Vietnam is such a modern country, such a beautiful country. It is time now that we send the message to the world. We have arrived in the 21st century. We are not anymore a bygone time. Like always this, where is Catherine Deneuve? Is she coming around? Is she still here? Is she sailing on Halong Bay? This time is over. If we don't go into the next generation of hotels, into the next generation of creating a different expectation, guests will come and they will be disappointed.
So basically, coming back to the supply of hotels, maybe to say we can supply whatever we want, but if we have the right marketing strategy, you say, if they don't come only for the buffalo, but also for the girl. No, I'm joking. All right, good. I need to move on to the next question. Mario, that's your turn. And we're actually already, thanks to Herbert, into this. So the next question would be about the infrastructure and the visitor experience. So Herbert gave it. Are the visitors all expecting a buffalo and the girl sitting on the buffalo?
No, they're expecting an innovative cultural heritage experience. And I mean, with the new visa approval that was established since August last year, we are seeing that influx already in Q1. I mean, trying to book a hotel in Ho Chi Minh in the past 2 weeks, you would have seen all the 5-stars sold out. From Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, it's amazing. I mean, these are the 2 entry ports into Vietnam, really, by the international market. So it was a great effort by the Vietnamese, I am on the sunny side, so it was a great effort by the Vietnamese government to implement the new visa policy, which extends to 90 days. Counteracting that, we see our neighbors, of course, I'm sure somebody from the rainy side will say that we should have more visa-free with other countries, mass tourism, and also make the entry procedure much better. With this amazing new visa policy, also we are starting to see bottlenecks at the airports. But coming online soon with Terminal 3, we're going to see that kind of gradually filter out. But in terms of visit experience, the other factor is that Vietnam is a hot market right now. You've got 5 connected cities to Australia now, and Australia has moved up to nearly 5th to 6th place in inbound travels. You see Koreans, of course, leading the way, as they have been for the years. But I'm going to ask my pal here, who wants to disagree with the whole...
You're such a funny guy.
Now I tell you, do you know why the hotels in the city are full? Do you know? I give you a very good reason. You saw the chart, yeah? There is no development in the cities. Basically, it's the same, but there is a huge development in the resort hotels. The resort hotels are driving the business in the city. You should pay us money. You know why? Because we don't have direct flights. So what does this happen? Everyone who comes from outside of the country, where do they go first? Hanoi? Ho Chi Minh City. So they will not fly on after 14 hours from America or 12 hours from Europe. They spend 2 days there. So you are so lucky that you are in a city, and we are so desperate because I wish it would be the other way around. That there are so many hotels in the city and less hotels in
You're gonna disagree. Me and Justin, sorry,
Saturday was
being
not
a
like
mice
this.
hotel.
And nobody stops in Bangkok either, do they?
Saturday the call was not like this. Huh?
Being a mice
Those
hotel.
two were lolling each other. I don't know.
Being a
Same
mice hotel.
side and they're giving each other.
Thank you. But being a mice hotel, between us, I mean, 80% is corporate for us. So I don't know how I'm helping you, but for us, with the new Thistle Sky Hall that opened in D2, state-of-the-art conference center, Justin's place here, state-of-the-art AV mice facilities.
No advertising, please.
You know, Ho Chi Minh is
And you are not
becoming very-
desperate, you say you are not
I really like
desperate.
this.
Justin, I know your occupancy side, please do not make advertising.
No need when you're that high. Sorry. Look, I think there's 2 points here. One is the travel infrastructure. Let's talk about that quickly. In order for tourism to take place seamlessly, and I think seamlessly is the word to use here, there has to be connectivity. And connectivity is critical, whether that's at the port of entry, whether that's at the end destination you want to be at, getting around domestically in country has to be seamless and easy, and it's not. I think if I was putting on a critical hat now, I would say that's the issue that Vietnam has to overcome. But the beauty about Vietnam is, just to flip that hat, we are behind Southeast Asia in terms of development. And what does that allow us? It allows us an opportunity to learn from past mistakes. And I think to take even the discussion around, should we continue to develop hotels here, there are many, many cities in Southeast Asia that have great connectivity. Infrastructure-wise, they've invested wisely in infrastructure that enables people to get around, and that is for both corporate, MICE, leisure, all of those segments. So we have to look at that. And we've got beautiful areas in Vietnam to connect people through, and that's what we should be looking at, in my opinion. And then visitor experiences, this kind of drives me nuts. I use Bangkok as a perfect example because Bangkok's often a comparison to Ho Chi Minh City, but Bangkok, you still have to line up to take the SkyTrain. You have to line up to get a token, to line up to get a ticket, to get on the SkyTrain, to drive. I'm thinking, why? And this is one of those things. Ho Chi Minh City and Bangkok have some similarities in terms of visitor experience. We all know why Bangkok has a higher return rate, but the return rate here is about 5 to 6% for tourists, true tourists. I'm not talking about corporate travellers, versus a 90+% return rate in Thailand. So we have a lot more work to do in visitor experience here, which includes travel infrastructure, being able to get around easily, not having to worry when you cross the road. These things worry tourists. And so if we work on those, we can improve the travel experience. And we need to develop things in country for visitors to do. I think there's still work there to do.
I think you're right, Justin. If we can do simultaneously as well with the education, with the training, I'm not going to, of course, promote whatever the concept we've been building over the past years, like vocational schools where you learn over the next month what is the minimum, I would say, service providing to the guest. But I feel that if you expand the keys, then you need to have a program to also educate and have the right people in the industry. Because you talk about commuting, yes, Bangkok is fantastic with this. For the last 30 years, Bangkok has been like that. And they've already been like this as a legacy. Here, Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, you have, of course, some difficulties on the commuting with the flights, domestic, I would say inbound. But I think this is the right time when you have 20 million of young generation, what they're going to do, which industry they're going to work. And I think, I would say, it's good remark that you mentioned just before. Sorry, I don't know your name, so sorry. Mark, sorry. I work in a company where 99.9% are Vietnamese. I might be maybe 2 foreigners. Next time, my co-partner will talk on my behalf because I will not sit here because it's you, you're right. We should step back and let the Vietnamese, the team that I worked with for over the years, But I agree, this is the right time. this is such a wonderful generation. I work with amazing, young, talented people. It's time for them to step up. The general manager of Mia Saigon, without giving any, is a local Vietnamese. Fantastic. It's time for us to give the chances to them.
I just want to add to that. You talked about, there are some crush points at the airports and things. The infrastructure just has to improve. I mean, you've got a British tourist live streaming on Facebook the other day. He's been in the immigration queue for an hour and a half. We do not need that sort of promotion and advertising. We have to deal with the entire customer experience. And again, I travel every Monday morning. I'm out at the airport, and it is just a zoo. The way ride sharing works at Ho Chi Minh. If you're ever trying to get a grab and trying to work out how to get a car, it's just impossible. All that has to be fixed and there has to be a master plan. I forgot the one thing also about the hotels. Please, any developers in the room, stop building shop houses as well.
Alright, so now we need to go on, but that one had to be said, I fully agree. So Attila, you brought up Bangkok, Justin, you brought up Bangkok, Herbert, Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh, Thailand, Vietnam. Vietnam entertainment industry, Vietnam through foreign eyes. Where do we stand in entertaining tourists in whatsoever way?
Okay, I tried to find something to say on Saturday and Sunday. I couldn't really find a lot, but I can say one thing now. When it comes to this subject, what do we need? Do we need a zoo? Do we need a water park? Do we need let's say a rooftop bar? Do we need a complex, an F&B complex? Maybe this is more my mid-European heritage. I always say we have to think first, what do we want? And that is a little bit my criticism. There are so many developers in Vietnam who build, for example, not far away from my hotel, there is a very big park. You know which one it is, I will not say the name, but they have to wait 2 hours or 3 hours in the sunshine to go into this park. Yeah? Still, on the next Sunday, you have another 3 hours people waiting because they love it so much. Yeah? So it means that there are certain areas where the guest is expecting this. Yeah? So we should have more of these parks. We should have more fun parks, more zoos. But I would see it in a different way. I would say first we need to say, okay, what target market do we want to reach? Yeah? Do we want the Koreans? Okay, now everyone wants the Koreans. Do we want the Chinese? Do we want eventually the Russians or the East Europeans? Do we want the Australians? Do we want the Americans? And what do they want? For me, there is not enough consolidated effort and consolidated strategy to say, okay, what market is good for Vietnam? Okay, let's say, for example, Nordic countries. Okay, Nordic countries, they are extremely good for Vietnam because they stay very long at the hotel. They stay for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks. They don't want to go out too much because they like full board, they like all inclusive because they're worried that they catch something from the street food. So once we know which market we want, we have to develop what we need. Right now, it's all over the place. There's something here for everyone. I'm not saying we have a lot of things missing, but it's like I have a big bag and everything is mixed up in the bag. This is how it looks to me, and we need more streamline. That is my point.
You're on the same team. We have to disagree. As everyone would know me, if you know me in this room, entertainment means nightclubs and stuff like that for me. But in general, I would say that you have to. Everyone is a destination, right? So let's look at. I'm not going to use Bangkok as another example. Let's look at Sydney, or London, or New York, or something, right? Paris, big destinations, right? They cater to everybody, right? But they still don't lose their individual charm, right? People will go there for that uniqueness but it still caters to everybody. So I think while I agree, some things can be overdone or it needs to be a bit more targeted, but I do think you need it needs to attract everyone, right? And that's sort of entertainment. Say you're in the city, right? You want to go to restaurants at night time. You want go on day trips, but you go have a drink at the night time at a cool bar or something like that. It's what most people want to do, I guess. It's certainly what I want to do when I travel. So, you know, and I think we were doing, and Vietnam was, you know, has been a little bit behind in development, as we said, and I think unfortunately COVID at one stage stopped some of a lot of that developing, and that started again, right? If you look in 2018, 2019, there was a lot of entertainment venues happening, there was a lot of things going on, and it has slowed up a bit if you're looking from a city perspective. But I'm not very good at commenting on a resort perspective, so maybe someone else can do that.
I just like to add on one more thing. Not only Quebec, but let's say, as we know that Vietnam is like top 10 best destination for the F&B. Everyone knows. But why the Vietnamese food is not so popular in the world? Something that we can think of. How do we promote the F&B for Vietnamese?
I wanted to say this because Luxury Escape, we all know Luxury Escape. They have put on a program in the last, I think, 2 months. This is like an F&B journey through Vietnam. And this was so, I know from Luxury Escape, it was sold out in 24 hours apparently. It was so popular. This is a very, very good point. I absolutely agree. We have to look at our strengths. Where are we good? Yeah? And we have to focus more on the strengths. As I said, don't do what everyone is doing because it's just in fashion and à la mode. No, focus what you can do, and Vietnam should focus more on this, on the food culture. That would be amazing. If we would have in many different destinations, like Vietnamese food festivals every year, you know, like Cam Ranh Food Festival, Wat Rang Food Festival, and really international festivals where we invite chefs from abroad. We all have these connections because we are in this industry many years from the branded hotels. That we can get an Accor chef, we get an Intercontinental chef, we get an Aero chef. That would be something interesting.
So you're basically saying Vietnam should sail through authenticity.
Yes, absolutely, because this is one of the trends. One of the trends in 24 is that guests, first of all, they don't want to go to overcrowded places. This is one thing, and they want to connect with the locals. This is a very important point. But I come back to my criticism. I'm sorry if I come across negative. Normally, I'm a very, very positive person. But I feel that we have to bring this up. It has to be coordinated by someone. If we cannot leave everything to the hotel owners, we cannot leave everything to the hotel managers. No, where is the guidance from someone above us who says, okay, I know what we should do, and please follow me. I'm happy to follow. I don't want to do everything by myself. The hotels in Cam Ranh, I can tell you one thing. All the hotels in Cam Ranh, if I do my calculation for my hotel now, we spend probably $3 to $5 million every year to bring guests to Cam Ranh. Can you imagine this number? $5 million has to be paid out by the hoteliers to bring the guests. I mean, it's crazy. If we could give part of this money to someone who takes care of it and really promotes it for us, that would be wonderful. Like a destination management organization, like they do in Phuket, like they do in Miami. We should have this.
I think we come to that later. We come to the end of this subject. Maybe just one thing, food for thought. I had this very interesting conversation recently. I hate these shop houses, which you mentioned, Douglas. I hate all that Halong Bay and Phu Quoc and even Hoi An. They all need to have the same theme park and the same boring copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-paste. However, there is an interesting twist on that. We're all talking about going green. We're all talking about sustainable tourism. Now, let's just take China, right? China is growing fast. People are making more and more money. Chinese want to travel, and Chinese have the same right to travel like everybody else in the world. So, Chinese want to see the Eiffel Tower. Let's just take the Eiffel Tower alone. If 100 million Chinese have the money and want to see the Eiffel Tower, like other countries used to do it in the 20, 30, 40 years ago, there's no way ever we are going green, because then we're talking about hundreds of airplanes and overcrowded Paris. Maybe they have to charge entrance fees, maybe the hotel prices go skyrocket. So actually, very interesting conversation. We're actually, with our tourism concept worldwide, we're heading into a dead end. So why not then making a Paris theme park in Phu Quoc? Why not then making a Venice theme park in Phu Quoc and say to the people, You want to go to Paris, the flight ticket costs you $3,000, the entrance to Paris costs you $500, because that might happen anyway in 20 or 30 or 40 years from now with the overcrowding. But you can go to Fukuoka, it's so much cheaper, it's a copy, and it's better for the environment. Just food for thought, a very interesting thought actually.
I think he's about to fall off his chair, Mr. Mark. What did you say? I will not reply to that because
Food for thought, I didn't say it's right or wrong, right?
no, you're right, but definitely that's the case happening now, for sure. You see in Fukuoka, that's the right example. Shop houses are empty, they're coming to us, asking us can we turn into mini hotels, and because they don't have what to do, it's left. Sure, I agree. You're still alive, huh? We're good.
Alright, so we come to the next one, and the next one is actually Justin, right? So,
Can we talk together?
okay, Justin, the subject which we took for you is actually, you are the true weather forecast, which we said today. Everything is about the weather forecast. So, international and local demands, the hope and the reality about 24. My budget 24, right now, I'm doing very well, but with all the issues with the airplanes right now, I am very, very worried it goes bust.
Yeah, I think there's a few things to pay attention to. But first of all, maybe let's start with how this year started, because last year was tough. I think we all agree with that. This year started very well. I can't put much of a critical hat on for Q1. You know, Q1 has been and shown very positive signs over last year. And even the pace moving forward, March, as Mario alluded to, I think it's even longer than 2 weeks. If you wanted to book a 5-star hotel in Ho Chi Minh City, you couldn't get a hotel room for many, many, many weeks of this month, including this week. So that's all positive. March will be a booming month. Rates even are very high. In Ho Chi Minh City I'm talking about, I can't talk for other areas. But looking forward, let's maybe talk about the airline industry since you mentioned it. I think the airline industry is still only predicting a full recovery versus COVID levels at the end of this year, very, very late in 24, whereas other markets in Southeast Asia are showing much stronger and faster recovery trend lines. So that's still a struggle. International flight lift in and out of key cities is still behind 2019 levels. And certainly from that perspective, when you look at a geopolitical situation and what's happening globally, even if we go market by market with Japan in a recession, these are things to very much watch. Because we run the residential tower here, my largest mix in the residential tower is Japanese, and I'm already seeing huge pullbacks on spend from the Japanese market.
Did you lower the rates for Japanese?
No. But we are working with them to even move apartment sizes from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom or a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, because the Japanese companies or the people that are employing Japanese workers are either recalling them back to Japan already or they're localising the roles already. So that's some indicators of what the future may look like, because these are always forward indicators for us. And that's, as I mentioned, I've probably lost 5 or 6 major contracts from the Japanese market. Outside of that, China positively is looking good. I think if anyone was reading the news over tech, Chinese search for Vietnam as a destination over 10 period was 95% of 2020 levels. And 2020 was still a booming year for China, even though COVID had just started. It was them Chinese travelling out of China at that time. Still very strong travel trends in 2020 from China. So 95% of searches were 2020 levels from China for Vietnam, also very healthy. For me, even last month, and it looked like it'll be the same for this month, China will retake its #1 position for me as a geosource market for hotel, not residence. So there's a couple of positive trends there. I think it depends on what happens later with the US elections. I think everybody's sort of a wait-and-see game there on how that may affect trade. And obviously the geopolitical tensions with the wars are still placing supply chain pressures on in some areas. So these are things that I think at a high level we're watching for intercontinental Saigon. and as a group?
It's a good point. Sunday when we spoke together, Justin wasn't there. You mentioned about the Da Nang, maybe you should share, because that was an alarming situation in that destination. I agree with Justin for Ho Chi Minh. We're doing pretty well, we're happy. In Nha Trang, luckily, we have the Koreans, no, Herbert. We have the Koreans, luckily. Without the Koreans, I think we are in a different zone. But in Da Nang, there's a lot of flights cancelled. 2 weeks ago, we were flying to Da Nang with my business partner, where it's so expensive flying to Da Nang. There's not enough flight. I don't know how.
I mean that's basically three things. First of all, the problem of Da Nang right now is Vietnam doesn't get more Korean tourists. Vietnam just gets the Korean tourists moving from Da Nang to Da Lat, to Cam Ranh and to Nha Trang. So there are flights now to those areas. Somebody told me that 20 or 25% of all Koreans have already been in Da Nang. So Da Nang has squeezed that lemon and Da Nang needs to move on, while Cam Ranh, Nha Trang and Da Lat apparently are on the new wave. The second thing is you're talking about the airplanes. I mean, just to be clear, Vietnam Airlines and Vietjet have together grounded 20 airplanes for maintenance work. It's not their mistake, it's happening all over the world. The whole world has a shortage of 500 airplanes. Bamboo Airlines, I think, has downscaled from around 20 airplanes to 8. Pacific Airlines has just announced to downscale from 12 airplanes to 3, because those airplanes are all leased and they can be leased for a much higher expense. And yes, we have a massive problem in bringing the tourists by flight to Da Nang. And for me, to come to Ho Chi Minh was really, really difficult. You don't book 10 days in advance, you have a headache.
Just on look at our portfolio for lodges as a whole. You know, you got the Sofitel Metropole in Hanoi doing very, very well. It's had a fantastic first 3 months. At the casino, where I am most of the time, it's been okay, not bad, but certainly not as good as the Metropole, because our market is for gaming primarily expats that are residing in Ho Chi Minh City and Viet Cu, and it's doing okay. For the non-gaming side, it's primarily Vietnamese, right? Vietnamese families, MICE groups, etc., etc. So MICE groups in the current climate, or also, should I say, companies in the current climate, are not necessarily spending as much money on team building, MICE trips, things like that. So maybe they stay in Ho Chi Minh City, do a day, rather than go away, stay a night, and have all the additional expenses. And Vietnamese families as well. So obviously, it depends on the market, but and you know, and then you go, well, let's step out of Vietnam for a second and go to Cambodia, and you go to Siem Reap, and the raffles that we have in Siem Reap is having an exceptional first quarter. So again, I think it's very there's overall, I think it's okay, but certainly some markets it depends where your property is located.
Maybe if I could just jump in quickly to round off a couple of key points there. We've talked about connectivity before with infrastructure and stuff like that, but if you look at sort of total country tourism, and we carve that up between two main sectors, international and domestic, you can come here cheaper than getting around in country, even if you just use the Ho Chi Minh Hanoi example. It's much more expensive to move within the country now than to fly out and go somewhere else. So I think that's a real challenge we have to watch. Even the ministry is predicting just a modest 2 million increase in domestic visitor travel this year, from 108 million to 110 million. We're going from 12.5 million last year for international visitors to 17 or 18 million this year forecasted, so 34% growth, only a 2 or 3% growth in domestic travel. So that's something I think we should be concerned about.
All right, thank you. So I think it's time for Douglas. Douglas, you wanted to talk with us about promoting Vietnam tourism in the world. Good example, I went to an international conference in Bangkok, which is really just around the corner, ICA convention, the largest convention conference in the world, 1,000 people from South America to Africa to Palau and God knows what. And I tell them, why don't you come to my conference center, the Ariana in Da Nang? Da Nang? Huh? That was the reaction. So we think we do an amazing job, because Da Nang is known in Korea and Japan. But those people in Bangkok from all over the world, they had no idea that Da Nang even exists. Douglas?
So the
What's
choice
your
was
point?
developing or to be developed.
Yes.
Definitely to be developed. I think when you, again, we talk about the ability to benchmark against other countries and who's doing it well. Obviously, Thailand and the Tourism Authority of Thailand are a massive beast of an organisation for driving business into Thailand. But the Australian Business Bureau do a phenomenal job marketing their country. They have budget, they have strategy, they have a campaign. I mean, Vietnam has a tourism slogan. Does anybody in this room know what it is?
Timeless charm.
Timeless charm, yeah. I mean, you know, we all can say incredible India, amazing Thailand, but timeless charm, it's just not being pushed. If you go to ITB, if you go to World Travel Mart, Thailand is there with an enormous temple pagoda built in the middle of Hall 9, and Vietnam literally has a cloth table with two chairs and a triangle sign saying come to Vietnam. We really need to do more.
I point out there is a Vietnam National Administration of Tourism. How many of us work for Vietnamese companies or foreign investment? They're promoting you. They're never working for us. Yeah. If something goes on, if there's a program from VNAT, it's a Vietnamese investor who's the backup for it, always. Yeah, and the rest of us are pretty much on their own. With due credit for Thailand, they've got other reasons that they're a tourism beast. If I arrive in the airport in Bangkok, the airport's pretty ugly, but I love the city as soon as I get there, and somebody lines me up for a taxi cab at a fixed price. I came here from Phu Quoc yesterday, and our airport is a mess. Because the general manager of the airport visited me the other day for lunch, and she's actually running another business, making money for her family, and hasn't appeared in her office in a few months. I mean, that's how Vietnam is working. So we have a big break between the reality that we all live in and the next level up, because the level just above us is not only not listening to what we necessarily say, but isn't permitted to. Yeah, the level that shall not be named.
I've actually been sitting on the Tourism Advisory Board to VNAT since 2015, and on that board there's quite a few large Vietnamese companies now.
Yeah.
So they're all represented. Obviously, they have their best interests at heart of themselves, but they are, I think, united in the fact that they're trying to advise the ministry on that's why some things gradually are happening, like with visas and things. It's slow. It's certainly slow, I admit, but it is sort of happening. You've got Ving Group on there, Vietnam Airlines, Vietjet, CEO Group, Sun Group, and there's a lot of other ones as well. It's quite a big. So they are quite, I would say, animate. I wouldn't say animated. It's probably not the right word, but they certainly express, their opinion on what they think would help. And of course, they're at a large development level. So sometimes you would think that they're only looking after themselves, but I think they are generally trying to sort of advise properly and try and cut through some of that red tape that needs to be cut, I guess, to accelerate things. So.
Cutting that will take an extra tall ladder, and you're not allowed to buy a ladder that high.
As a Vietnamese, I think that Vietnam have like 4 things to learn from Thailand. The first one will be the price strategy. When I came to Thailand last 2 weeks, very surprising that all the items sold at the markets, normal markets, but everywhere the same price. Which is very different from Vietnam. Maybe for the same items, but here is different price. And another one is totally different, maybe 10 times higher. The same with the hotels and also the things at the place. That is something that we have to consider. The second thing will be the service. As you may know that from Thailand, every single person, even driver or the tour guide, they can speak English, they can communicate well with the tourism. Yes, with the tourists. So that is something that we should learn also. The third one will be the what?
No, we disagree.
I think the English level in this country is rapidly climbing.
But also the cities as well. The mindset, the specific mindset from the Vietnamese.
I think the Thais are jealous of Vietnam because Vietnam has more to offer. then I do understand that maybe we're behind on certain level. But I was living in Thailand. They didn't like the Vietnamese because the Vietnam is a much more beautiful country. And the people are fighters, survivors, and they were always, not complaining. But then when I moved to Vietnam, I understood why Vietnam has more to offer. I think it's the right time now to be ahead of Thailand, not in terms of tourism, in terms of preparing ourselves towards the next generation. I agree with you, there are maybe things that we are behind. I feel myself that this country has so much to offer. Food-wise, definitely so popular. But every single guest that I talk or I meet, they want to come back to Vietnam. But the only thing, maybe it's commuting or it's not easy, the long haul, but Vietnam is, I would say, #1 destination in Southeast Asia, because Thailand is overpopulated. You go to Bangkok, you don't have a Thai experience. It's like international branded everywhere.
I'm going to say one more thing. I totally think I'm interrupting and I don't care. So it's okay. But the point is, what I'm saying is, and I mean it, and Attila and I know each other from Thailand a long time ago. We spent a lot of time in Thailand back in the day, working there. So, and a lot has happened in the last decade, right? And I would say now that, when I come to Vietnam and I travel around quite a bit, and everyone's friendly. Doesn't matter where you go, in my opinion now. There's a lot of friendliness, everyone's smiling, everyone's trying to do their best. Right? And all you can ask is that, right? And I love Thailand, don't get me wrong. I've lived there for 7 years at one stage and still very close to my heart, that place. But it's changed as well. It's not the same. It's become, as you said, a big machine and suddenly Vietnam's got an opportunity now. I think the English level has certainly risen to night and day from what it was 10 years ago, right? And everyone's generally trying it. It's friendly.
It's very interesting that
They switch off the aircon now.
as you can see that all the experts and all the foreigners, they are against the lady, because we feel that the Vietnamese people this is the asset. For me, if Vietnam has one asset, apart from the beach and then it is the people, absolutely people. But probably it's because you feel you are not there. But I don't know why you have this feeling. In my opinion, you are there already a long time.
We love you more than you love yourself.
Maybe it's better for the internet.
Justin, you need to pay your bills, huh?
Maybe just to come back about promoting Vietnam tourism, since you work with VNT, right? I mean, one point I always get to hear is Korea has 30 international tourism offices, South Korea all over the world, Thailand has 25 to 30, Malaysia has 25 to 30, apparently Vietnam has only 3, Seoul, Tokyo and London. What's in the making there?
I don't know, it depends on the budget, right? So every tourism destination has a budget. Obviously Thailand is a juggernaut because they've got a giant budget as well, right? So I think that's something that the Ministry of Culture and Tourism is sort of working on at the moment, is trying to lift that, and it has increased. It's not like it hasn't increased, but when you start from a very low budget, like extremely low, it'd be my description of it a few years ago. But it's certainly increased, but it's nowhere near the level of Thailand or Malaysia or any of these other places, and they need to keep working on that. And I think, honestly, there's a general commitment to increasing that budget so they can do more things on a worldwide scale.
Yeah, no, it still comes back to the point we were talking before, to market the place, we need to be more authentic. We don't need, I'm sorry, but we don't need replica Parises and replica Spanish villages or whatever. We need to be authentically Vietnamese and really show that culture to the world, because I think it's the USP of this country. And I hope Phu Quoc is not completely destroyed, because we've got a hotel underdeveloped down there. But I'd hate to see Phu Yen and Quy Nhon and the other beach destinations go that way, because the beaches are heads and, you know, streets ahead in Thailand. We've got better beaches in Bali. There's no reason why we can't be the premium tourism. I just would like to ask that, you know, from a tourism point of view, we don't get besotted by the number. It's not Thailand has 44 million arrivals. When will we get to 44 million? We need 20 million quality arrivals who are going to stay for a week, spend a lot of money into the economy, and not just simply effectively be a $0 tourist.
You make a perfect bridge to the next subject. Something which is very much on the heart of Mario. He was like virtually begging me on his knees to bring up the green tourism. And then I'm sure, Mark, you have a lot to say about green tourism in Phu Quoc. So let's get started with Mario. Green tourism. Do we do greenwashing?
Yeah, green tourism is very, it's very close to my heart and to our company as well. I guess the greatest thing about it is that our guests, it's actually it's becoming a profitable issue and an income issue for many hotel companies. Many corporate companies now are sending checklists, checking if we are green sustainable. What are the practices we're implementing? But more than our corporate companies asking about it, it is our hardest. Our hardest meaning our employees. When we're hiring new Gen Z and millennials, they are asking us, what are the sustainable practices that are in your hotel? We're very proud to talk about, single use. Out of our 40 hotels, all of our hotels are now 100% non-use, single-use plastic. And more than that, actually, it's our responsibility as individual international hotel companies to drive this. I know the government, we don't have much subsidy, but there is so many initiatives here happening in Vietnam that we're taking part. Cage-free eggs, social impact by hiring people from orphanages, etc., and partnering with social impact. The biggest thing is AMI. Let me just finish AMI. AMI is a plug because this works for everything for hotels. When they call for linen for life, we have hundreds of linen that we discard on a regular basis that can go back into reuse. The biggest one is coffee. Use coffee grounds, reused again as coal to be given for cooking in rural places. The other one, of course, is soap for life. And then the other one, my favorite, is plastic shreds. Even though it is a major cost to get rid of plastic in a hotel, at least we can work in reusing these plastic shreds to build roads, to repurpose it. So green tourism is here to stay. It's something that us as individual hotel companies have to invest and push this culture through because we're living in the future.
Yeah, but you're working for an international company. When I speak to local hoteliers in Da Nang, they say, I don't care because my customers don't care. I'm just giving you the reality. I speak to them, that my customers, they don't give a ... They just want to have a cheap hotel room and the cheap hotel room doesn't go green. I'm asking, okay?
Maybe few guests don't care, but most other guests will care. Actually, for me, I think that most of the hotels in Vietnam now do well with the go green items and now less and less plastic things to be applied. Sorry, but then the only thing I think that Vietnamese are lacking that is technology. So I just would like to share that when I came to Thailand and they have like end of waste machine and they use that machine to put the food waste into the machine and after that the food waste like come to the water, or the second will be the deposit, and the last one will be the gas. So from the food waste come to other things that can be used again. That not happening in Vietnam yet. But in the world, Thailand will use it, so we can think about this one. I think that's good.
Everybody comes up always with good ideas, but actually I don't see a lot of hotels doing it. Is it feasible from a cost point of view? That's my question. I want to be a bit of a devil in that. Do I go green as well? Yes. But sometimes when I listen around and I look around, I have often the feeling it's a greenwashing. We need to tell TUI, hey, we're doing something. Mark, you come from the most green destination in Vietnam. Can you tell us more about Phu Quoc, please?
I'm kind of like ex-green. First of all, because I was actually 40 years in the spice business, and I was the guy who went international.
It's not recordable, that's right. We cannot censorship.
Is that working?
No, all is out.
Oh,
yeah.
No, that's very bad.
Censorship.
I was the guy, I spent 40 years going to international conferences and standing up and saying, yesterday I was in Vietnam buying this pepper from farmers who live in bamboo houses with dirt floors, and today I'm in Hamburg with all of you guys at this conference, and you're telling us that we need to shorten up the supply chain and make it more efficient. For what purpose? because realistically speaking, and I won't have a solution if I make this comment, life is not sustainable. We want to get on a 787 and travel from New York or wherever
No,
we
I'm
want
not
to.
going on one of those.
Right, well, some kind of a large aircraft, right? We're not arriving on sailing vessels, yeah? And after 8 o'clock in the morning, everybody eats breakfast, goes out, goes to the pool, puts a towel onto the beach lounger, then picks up the towel, throws it in to be washed. You know, what part of this is sustainable? Fukuoka, I have no idea what they're going to do next. When I went to Fukuoka, we would catch fish off the beach in the clear water, and today I swam about 5 kilometers last week in the ocean. I saw 1 fish. Yeah? I mean, that's where things are. So I'm not sure what's sustainable about this. How can they return it? We've got 10,000 hotel rooms on the island, and none of them has a proper sewage treatment system. Not one.
Can
Yeah?
Let me try.
I could stop there.
The only thing that helps is when it affects the pocket of the hotels, the pocket of the customer, and the pocket of the owners. Vietnam managed to implement helmets, motorbike helmets, from one day to the other. But Vietnam cannot manage to avoid plastic bags in the supermarkets. So if we have a country which is so disciplined and is listening to what the government says, okay, from tomorrow on everyone has to wear a helmet, why don't we say from tomorrow on we should not use any plastic bags anymore? It's all the way how it's done, how it's organized, and it has to be enforced. Environmental issues cannot be left to private enterprises. It has to be a governmental-driven initiative, otherwise it will never ever work.
I just got one thing to say on green, because green is relative, but how do you get to that situation in the first place? So what happens in the back end to make something green? Right? So being an avid Harley-Davidson rider, I have to bring this up because you talk about electric cars and batteries and things like that. So here's some useless information for you if you would like to hear it. So if you've got Carnival cruise liners, right? Because we're talking about airplanes, so look at cruise boats, right? They're going from 350 to something like 520 something cruise boats in the world in the next 2 years. Okay? Carnival Cruise Lines has 60 vessels, right, at some stage. Those vessels, if operating at the same time per day, use 1.5 times all the cars in Europe in terms of gases and whatever have you. So if you add what's the other one? Royal Caribbean, Viking, then you add all the cargo vessels running around. You sit in the back of Marina Bay Sands, and you got a room out the back. There's always 200 boats sitting out there at any one day, right? So I guess the point is that what I'm trying to say is it's not green is the right way to go, but it depends how you get there, right? Because sometimes it's a false. What am I doing it for? I'm doing it for compliance, corporate compliance, board.
Carnival probably has a big green sustainability program.
Of course they do.
When you buy your ticket, it's right there.
Yeah. So this is where it's something we all have to work on, but is it real or is it false in certain situations? So, again, being a Harley-Davidson combustion engine person or V-twin, I'm a bit passionate about this subject. But
electric starter or kick.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, so it's how you get there, right? It's all right to tell the story, but what's behind the story, right? Is it real or is it false? If it's real, that's great, no problem.
Basically what you're saying is, where's the point to, it doesn't help so much, let's say this way, if I use my towel 2 times a day, if I go on one of those cruises.
Well, no, I'm saying it all takes its point, but it's how you're telling the message, right? You've got to be honest with yourself. You don't sort of say, I'm completely green, right? I'm going 100% green. You do your part, sure, of course you do, right? Because it's the environment, but sometimes the message to me is mixed by corporations, right? They're all selling a story, but how do you get there, right? That's
It's a bit what Mark said at the beginning. Tourism by nature is not sustainable.
Right.
Let's leave it like that. Our time is up. I do believe it was a very good way today to have it as an open debate. Some very, very interesting facts. We're going to make sure certain parts are being cut out before it goes on YouTube. Any one of you wants to listen it again, it will be on YouTube in a few days from now. Please tell your friends. Excellent talk. Thank you so much.
So we're going to be talking about selecting a wellness model, building the wellness program, running the feasibility and designing the spaces. All four of these things are really key to be able to develop a wellness resort. Starting from the wellness model, I think it's really important before the owner starts to develop that they're really aware of the different models that they can select, specifically on a hospitality front. Because the type of wellness you choose to go into one of these projects can be very different. You start with a traditional resort, and in these resorts you have a standard spa that you can plug in and operate independently. On the other side of the spectrum is the healing resorts. You will know these famous brands like Kamalaya or Cision. They are all-inclusive wellness and really oriented. The guest chooses to come and stay there because of the program, and accommodation is just an add-on. But we believe that these 2 and 3 levels are going to be new models coming up as the demand for wellness increases, but the awareness of wellness is not that something is wrong with us, that we need to go for a cleanse or a healing. But what can we do in between that to work on our lifestyle and balance ourselves to avoid going to the extreme in future, unless we want to really transform one area of our lives. And so these two in the middle, for example, with hybrid or lifestyle, your spa facilities need to start to change. It can't just be the 6 treatment rooms or 8 treatment rooms in the resort. You have to start to be able to offer additional things. And investing in different things, investing in different spaces, and investing in different experts on the team. So if you were doing a hotel that's wellness oriented, you really start from the beginning. A wellness resort needs a wellness concept before you start. You know, very often we come later, and of course we can optimize what is there. But if it's a wellness-oriented resort, you have to start with that vision in the first place, and everything else adapts to that. So after the wellness resort, we do the classical technical services, wellness programming, and also the pre-opening, and managing the wellness resort. And inside your resort, you have the spa management and retreat management, but it has to be integrated as an ecosystem into the wellness resort, throughout the operation of the resort as well. So for example, in a spa, if you were going to select which spa model you're going for, you've decided in your hospitality model, and now you need to select the right spa model for your business. So we have outlined 8 here, really going all the way from self-management to managed by a company, or totally outsourcing it on a lease agreement. And you can see when you can have your own brand and what degree of control you can maintain if you want to manage it yourself, or you really want someone with different expertise to manage it. And particularly now as we move into the wellness space, it's not like a spa anymore. So you really should start looking at people that can support you to grow the business and adopt the business into a new way. So for the spa and wellness, you have your 2 options, your self-managed option, where you potentially working with a consultant to help you create the concept. You still go into technical services and programming and pre-opening, and potentially help you with the quality assurance, or managed by the operator or the general manager. And for the spa management, potentially taking a concept and localizing it for your property, still going through all the project management, and then kind of working with a brand that can support you with that, or having them develop their own brand and operate as a white label. So after you've selected your hotel model, and then you see which is the best spa model that fits for you, we can really go into building the program. And the program needs to be thought about quite early. In a wellness resort, It impacts a lot of your spaces, it impacts your guests, it impacts your journey, it impacts the way you're going to sell the product as well. So we really need to look at the whole holistic ecosystem that needs to integrate into the resort. From spa treatments to wellness therapies, you know, if you have activities, where are they going to be? Where are the workshops going to be? Is there a meal plan or a specific kitchen offering the wellness food? Are hydrotherapy facilities going to be integrated? That takes a lot of cost and investment and space. So making sure that that's part of the program, otherwise not included in the project. Different kind of technology, and investing in the wellness coaches and expertise that can lead your wellness programs too. So wellness does not stand alone as a traditional spa. So we have to think about the ecosystem. And wellness is not just relaxation after one treatment, it's about a goal and a program. So what am I going to get out of it? What am I working towards? So we really have to focus on building that wellness program to be able to achieve those results. And if we leave out some of these in the ecosystem, we don't achieve that goal. And then we're not really wellness, we're more upgraded spa, let's say, unless we really optimize the wellness programming. What's very important is wellness sells differently to a spa treatment. For a spa treatment, you can easily upsell in the resort. Guests know about your spa and they come to the spa. So maybe your capture rates in a city spa, maybe 5 or 10% at the moment. if we're going into resorts, anything up to 15 or 20. And if it was like that for spa, and you invest all this extra money in technology and hydrotherapy, and you keep selling it as a spa, you will not get your return on investment. So it's really important to understand that wellness sells differently. So from the beginning, are you going to be able to pre-sell on your website? Are you going to be able to focus on specialist operators to sell your wellness programs? Because 60 to 70% of your wellness program is sold before the guest arrives. The direct portion can be sold pretty much through the spa menu with packages and programs. And then your individual services in a wellness program is quite small. It's not growing your business, it's just maintaining your business. And to be able to move into wellness and invest more money in your space, you really have to think how you're going to sell that wellness program. The wellness program has to be deeply planned and thought out. It is not for a spa menu where you can plug in anywhere. When you think of your wellness program, it's impacting all your space, it's impacting all your investment, it's impacting how you're going to sell, it's impacting the positioning of your property, and all these things drive your room rate and drive your market position and drive your ADR. So it's beyond just an added value for the guest. So when we do this, you really have to think of what value you're going to bring to the client, how are you going to impact and transform their lives. How do we build that program to be able to achieve those goals, looking at their pain points, the market needs, how you do the storytelling to bring that concept to life, and building the guest journey all the way from 1 day to 7 days with all the items that are integrated into that. And only then you can select your technology, because then you know what you need. You know if you want to achieve a detox, what kind of equipment do you need to achieve a detox? But if you were working on beauty and you bought other technology, you would be selecting the wrong technology and not having the correct ROI. Then you have to build it into your wellness program and your wellness spaces. If you have additional rooms that are not going to be utilized because the wellness programming wasn't done in detail or wasn't done to the right specifications, or you have extra rooms that you're not utilizing because when you did your feasibility you could optimize one of the rooms to convert to technology because you have extra capacity that you could leverage with a higher average spend in that treatment room. So really important to run the wellness feasibility separately from the hotel feasibility. It should really be seen as a business, because right now the contribution for wellness in a hotel is so low that no one wants to invest more in wellness. And we have to be able to show that wellness is a driver of revenue, because if it doesn't drive revenue, it's like having an empty restaurant in the resort, and that just would not be acceptable. So firstly, with the equipment, really working on an ROI of the potential technology that you consider to include. Once you've worked out the ROI of that, you really understand what kind of capture you need in your feasibility to achieve to pay back that technology, and also that spend that you're looking for on that technology. In addition, breaking down your feasibility into different sections, looking at the technology feasibility, capture, average spend, number of guests you expect to capture from the hotel into that. We're integrating the room occupancy and the therapist efficiency here as well. So you would know exactly how many therapists you need for that to be able to optimize that space. Because if you don't invest in the therapist and you have an expensive technology and the rooms being underutilized, there is no purpose to that. So it's very much an ecosystem on all fronts, and all have to be pulled together very carefully. Then once you have that initial strategy and initial view, you know what your program needs, you know what your feasibility shows, you can really come to optimize your space. And this is where we really look at the design needs. And we brief the suppliers and the partners exactly what is needed in the spaces. Then they can optimize the ROI because they know what is needed, they know where to put more efforts and investments for the developers, or which other areas we can streamline a little bit to be cost effective. And very important at this stage to really sign it off with all partners that they're on board, because then we have a very clear vision when we start to develop. And all partners are aligned, so it's very easy to take it to the next step. So within the development stages, very often wellness consultants are brought on board somewhere around technical service, quite potentially not even in the beginning. And that is already a loss of ROI on your space. And as a developer, if you bring in wellness operators sooner, they can really support you to optimize that. It should really be done before the master planning, especially if it's going to be a wellness resort. It's essential because the wellness spaces really change if you go to the level 2 or 3 where you start to include more wellness and wellness programs. So really in the concept and strategy stage, when you're looking at the feasibility, the concept, the capacity forecast, the journey, these are all the ones I've touched on today that are critical to have the right strategy to maximize your ROI. And then you can do a draft adjacency plan, which starts to show you what the facility should look like, what spaces need to be next to each other for the flow, which spaces need to be larger, and which spaces need to be smaller because they don't bring the same amount of revenue. And then during the technical service phase, that's where we go into more detail, where you can really work with the suppliers to say, this is the space we have available now, help us to build, this is the result we want for this technology, and help us to optimize the space with your technology within this budget, because we know what we're expecting from an income and we know the returns. And that is done all during the schematic design stage at least, so that it can be integrated in the hospitality side as well. And if it's just the spa, it's still easier, but if it's integrated into hospitality, we really have to look at things like where the wellness food is being served. If it was a detox, for example, you might need separate spaces. And these things all impact your spatial planning. So that is a quick run through, and we have some time, so I think it's nice to open for some questions, if you have any. It's such a big subject, so it's more challenging.
Thank you, Ms. Michelle, for your sharing. Is there any questions for our speaker? or Miss Michelle will stay with us until the host night. So if you have any questions, please come to meet her and you can ask her directly. Thank you. So now up next we're gonna move to another aspect related to the hotel business marketing. So I would like to invite Ms. Megan Lee from the PR Cision Newswire.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Megan. I'm an account director for Cision Newswire. We are the largest global news distribution and media monitoring company. Thank you for being here for my sessions. I tried to pitch tomorrow to talk about like the international communications because I think it's very important as Vietnam trying to win back the international tourists, as it's been discussed a lot today. So I hope today we can give some data that relevant to your global communication strategy. So in early this year, we collaborate with PR Week, top publications related to PR and marketing publications to launch like a global comms report. So I put the QR code here that you can scan and download. Later on, if you miss this, you can reach out to me directly and then I can send it to you. So let's dive into the biggest challenge of the industry. So the first one is ability to measure the impact effectively because beyond like the numbers or the likes or the shares or the media clippings, how we can measure our campaigns more effectively. And the second one is securing appropriate budgets, which is, I think everyone agree with this. However, in APAC, only 29%, so I don't think in APAC we have problem with securing budget here. The third one would be needing better alignment with other internal departments, so sometimes you have to speak to your sales team or operation team before like launching a PR campaign. And then also the last one would be ability to identify and invest in the best tool for the team, as we have many like software or AI right now is free or paid. So where to find like the best one for your business model. So we have more challenges here as we have limited time, so I'm not going through everything. However, I noticed that also one that is making the case for earned media. So I think in Vietnam we're very used to the paid media method, but I think when we invest in the earned media effort to build our brand and also build relationship with the journalists and the audience, it's a very long and rewarding journey for the sustainable of the brand. So we can see the content that call actions, which is which channel that the most effective for PR team. So we have obviously the first one is social media. We have the website. We try to direct our customer. We try to speak directly to them and revert them to our website. We have digital advertising and of course the video type content also very effective. Because you can see that we have YouTube video, we have Reels on Instagram, and then also the rise of podcasts and audio content is also the top answer in APAC. That is the most effective at 57%. So the priority for the PR com team, so we give them some activities and ask them to prioritize their priority this year, which is analytics and reporting, and media and influencer outreach and management. And the last one is content creations. So what is the CEO, C-level, and the owner expectation for the com teams? Besides the sales and revenue generation and also customer acquisition, which is a must, they also believe that building sustainable growth and value for the brand is very important. And also the ability to respond to the changing marketplace, as you know, is very uncertain economic climate right now. And how we can identify the new opportunity in the timely manner. some key takeaway, we identify some of the challenges and which channel can work best and how we can utilize our budget to meet the stakeholders' expectations, which include like the hotel owners, the management team, and of course our audience, the consumer. So Vietnam have been pushing out a lot of articles about how like international tourists is coming back. So we can see like we also target China, and we have South Korea and Indian as some of our focus market. So I want to introduce a little bit. Besides the paid media method, we help brands that can push their earned media activities using our multi-channel distributions. So we work with news agency globally, and the new agency have the downstream sites. We also work with national, regional news publications, and also some of the vertical news side, like some of the trade publications, including travel and hospitality. So the more we believe, the more channel you put out, the higher chance that your news can get picked up by the media. We also find that according to Sirius XM Media, which is an advertising agency, they find out that like we can customize our content to this particular 5 audience. The first one would be the business traveler, as we have lots of expo, trade show coming back. We have the multicultural travelers. We understand what language they are speaking or in what tone, what kind of cuisine they into. We have the LGBTQ plus traveler. As I can see, we have a lot of Pride Month promotions from hotels, and the conscious traveler. As after the pandemic, travelers like care more about like the sustainable initiative from hotel and how they can protect the environment. The last one is the wellness traveler, as Michelle Sessions. This is a very rising trend right now. As you know, like we have healing, meditation retreats, a lot at the strain right now. So I'll go through like a little bit of the basic foundations for the news, because sometimes we've been kind of distracted to focus on big idea, but we forget like the fundamental factors, how to put our news, which is relevant to the audience and the media. And then we can use a universal standard format for the press release, because I believe in Vietnam, when we pitch to the Vietnamese media, is a little bit different. And sometimes, like I find like a lot of press release I receive have like own headline in catalogs, which is make the journalists have to edit a lot. And then we can also include a good quote from an expert or management team to give it more credibility, and back up your statement with data. The journalists really like numbers. We always include the CTA because we want to track the performance, and also we want to hoping that it can convert a lead or maybe a booking. So I can share a little bit of the case study, what that we have worked with Marina Bay Sands. We created this branding landing page for them, and they announced the celebrations of 13 years with the launch of renovated rooms, which means they also target the audience in APAC, US and Europe. So you can see this page here, that they have a lot of photos, video, very interactive. You can click on everything, social media, booking links, and it gains like more than 10,000 views alone with this page, and then more than 300 media pickup. Including some of the other media from top tier publications like Tatler, Travel Daily, Hoteliers, Breaking Travel News, etc. We also work with our venue partner today, Intercontinental, when they announced the renovated Grand Ballroom. They also target the APAC and US MICE. So this is the page that we create for them, which include a lot of new photo of the ballroom, video, and then they also got picked up by a lot of MICE publication like TTG MICE, Also have the Korea Herald. So a little bit about us, our media network span across 170 countries and available in 40 languages. Some of our news partners, including that I just showed you a little bit, and I hope that we can talk more later after these sessions, how I can help you to reach the international audience. We have Taiwan, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, which is our big market for travel right now. For example, Naver and DAM. Australia, we work with AAP News, Canberra Times. Yeah, and that's all for my session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Megan. So now we will move into the last presentations, and then you can enjoy the host and I with product F&B, and then you can also have the chance to network with our speaker. So I would like to invite Mr. Samuel Water, founder of Head and Pillows.
And thank you everybody for remaining when I think Huskers has begun and is an open bar. So very grateful for everyone that stayed here for the presentation. So I will glaze over some of the more technical aspects of the presentation today and really focus on the core, so we can all get to Huskers a little bit faster, but also so we can focus on what matters. So today I'd like to talk about how we can capitalize on health and wellness trends using SEO, or search engine optimization, and SEM, search engine marketing. So a quick overview of myself and my company. So I'm Samuel Walter. I'm the founder and head of digital at Heads on Pillows. We are the direct booking specialists. So we are a digital marketing agency that specializes in hotels, accommodation, resorts, and tourism businesses. We provide SEO, social media marketing, digital ads, and web design and development. What I wanted to share with you today is a quick overview of the wellness industry in Vietnam, or rather the potential of the wellness industry in Vietnam, because I do believe it is largely untapped. You'll see a few numbers up here. The wellness economy overall is expected to nearly double by 2025 and sit at $7 trillion, while wellness tourism is set to nearly double at over $1 trillion by 2025. Vietnam is such a stunning, diverse, and culturally beautiful country, and the wellness industry has just had the surface scratched as far as opportunities in the tourism industry. Couple that with the fact that 5-star resorts are growing year on year, and global wellness tourism is projected to continue growing, and we find ourselves with a huge opportunity to reach our target market directly over SEO and SEM. So what you'll see up here is a quick overview of the way we can approach SEO in the wellness industry. This is one of our fabulous clients, Cassia Cottage in Phu Quoc Island in Vietnam. If you search for yoga retreat Phu Quoc or yoga Phu Quoc, wellness keywords related to organic dining, so many different wellness focused keywords, they'll show up on page 1 on Google, and there's a few reasons why. So we optimize the content on their website, we optimize their off-page or the links to their website, very PR related as well. And finally, we optimize their website from a technical perspective. I will go into a little bit more detail on this in a moment, but first I'd like to speak about the demand. So we've got a few numbers over here on the right. These are individual searches per year from users who are either in Vietnam or interested in Vietnam. So we'll see that there's 600,000 people searching for yoga retreats per year, 60,000 searches for health retreat, that's up 500% since 2022, eco resort over 200,000, and wellness hotel over 1.5 million searches per year across search engines like Google, Bing, and Naver from the Korean market. SEO is great, but it takes time. So if you're looking to invest in SEO, it's going to take 4, 6, 12 months to achieve significant increases in ranking. What if you want to capture some of this traffic now? So we have SEM, or search engine marketing. You might be familiar with Google ads or Bing ads. This is traffic that you pay per click to drive traffic to your website, and you can capitalize on this specific channel by targeting people based on what they're searching for. So it might be Wellness Resort Vietnam, it might be Spa Vietnam, it might be eco-friendly places to stay Vietnam. You can pay per click on these channels. You can target individuals based on their location, on their income, their demographics, and you can carve out your perfect niche to drive traffic to your website. We've got here as well Google versus Bing. A lot of people look at Google as the only search engine. Bing actually represents 10% of searches worldwide, and your average Bing user is richer and older and represents a really big part of the wellness demographic. So how do we leverage both? SEO is amazing for long-lasting success, but as we mentioned, it takes a lot of time. SEO can take up to a year to achieve meaningful results, which is why it's really important to couple that with an SEM or Google Ads, Bing Ads, Naver Ads strategy, and couple these two channels together and ultimately drive bookings and drive qualified traffic to your website. So some low-hanging fruit that everyone in this room can do today. So as you know, we are an SEO or digital marketing agency, but every hotel and resort has a few low-hanging fruits that they can take advantage of just by having a simple website. Optimize your Google My Business listing. So Google Business Profile is the profile that shows up on the search engine. If you use wellness-related keywords and optimize this profile to fit a certain profile, you can rank locally in just a matter of weeks. Second to that, encourage reviews. So encourage your guests to leave reviews and to encourage them to leave detailed reviews about their experience, about the wellness facilities at your resort. Create content about wellness. So something that we've done a lot for a lot of our clients is created blogs, landing pages, listicles, all focused on wellness activities. Internal links across your website, so structure your content so the key messages are prioritized, and make sure your website loads really quickly. Last but not least, leverage different languages. Korean is a huge opportunity. As we know, there's millions of Korean tourists coming to Vietnam each year. Very little effort is being put into optimizing websites for the Korean market, and it represents a huge opportunity in the wellness space. So, final slide before we all get to Huskers and enjoy a drink. Cassia Cottage is one of our favorite clients here in Vietnam. It's absolutely stunning, all organic cuisine. They have an amazing yoga retreat program. It's simply beautiful. It really bucks the trend of the mega resorts that we're seeing in Vietnam. Through a really tailored SEO campaign, focusing on their yoga retreat, focusing on wellness, focusing on those health-related organic dining amenities, we've been able to rank Cassia Cottage not only on page 1, but they rank number 1, 2, 3, and 4 for yoga-related queries across Vietnamese, English, Korean, and their Facebook fan page. We've also been able to optimize them to rank for many queries about Phu Quoc Island in general. So we have information on the attractions on Phu Quoc Island, all of the destinations that you can see, and Cassia Cottage, as an independent resort competing with global hotel brands, have overtaken those global hotel brands and also overtaken OTAs to rank number 1 for some really competitive keywords. And you'll see some of the increases, nearly triple the clicks over a 4-month period and nearly double the impressions. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for your time. If you've got any questions about SEO or SEM, I'm around at Huskers. Come and introduce yourself. Thank you so much.